Hello there. Okay, so if you're a generator in human design, then you probably know that your strategy is to wait to respond, right? But have you ever wondered why that is the strategy for you? Why does the generator actually create things in their life in a flowing way, in a way that works? Why do things work out for you when you're waiting to respond before you act? So I think for me in my own journey as a generator, it's been really, really important to realize that it's all about mechanics, and that the reason we are categorized in human design into these categories, right, of generator, projector, manifestor, and so on, is because our auras or our energetic bodies behave differently. Manifestor aura will behave differently than a generator aura. And if you've seen some of the theory behind the aura part of the generator, you'll know that the generator's aura is usually described as big and warm and enveloping and attractive. So the way the aura works has everything to do with what our strategy is. The fact that the aura is a big kind of energy ball that is bringing in, I don't have enough space over here, but bringing in to your field at all times, every single moment of your life, bringing in different things for you to look at. That's why, because you're having all these, like, this attractive power, that's why you must not go and get something. That's why you kind of have to wait and see what's there and then respond. Do I want this or do I want that? Does this sound good to my gut or does this not sound good to my gut? All right, so that's the first thing I really wanted to say is it's so important to remember the mechanics. And that's one thing that I always tell generator clients is remember your aura, like keep visualizing your aura, because that's such an important part of who you are and how you're working. And it's such an important part of being able to live the experiment correctly and feel guided to keep using the strategy of waiting to respond, because it helps you understand the why behind that strategy. But that being said, one thing that was hard for me to really, really understand in terms of practicality in my life is the strategy. Like, what the hell does it mean to wait to respond? What does that look like in our lives, really? Like, if I get an idea, what do I do with that idea? Or if something shows up in my reality and I feel like it's right for me, what does it actually feel that in your gut when it's a yes or when it's an I had all these questions, and honestly it took me about a year of experimenting with my design to really nail down, not everything, because I haven't nailed down everything, but to nail down how to be in the experiment is what I would say. So what I've done is I've thought of the things that were most important for me to learn, to know, to understand, and to do in my own life as a generator to feel that I'm successfully in the experiment. I'm not saying to feel that I am all the time an aligned generator, because that's what the experiment is for, is to get to that point. But even I think it's not like you always get to a point where you're always aligned. It's always a growth process. But to feel that you're in the experiment and you're seeing results is what I'm saying. So I've taken all of the things, all of the theoreticals, all the information that I heard and read and all the stuff and the thousands of dollars I've spent studying human design, and what I did was I divided it into the 5 generator behaviors. That's what I called it, the 5 generator behaviors, which for me is the 5 things we have to constantly be kind of keeping in our awareness and doing in our lives, even though it might be hard, to ensure that we're living our experiment. And I made a generator masterclass to transfer this information in the best way that I thought possible to you. But in this short video, I'm going to give you just a sneak peek of the 5 generator behaviors. All right, so these are the 5 things that a generator must do. So just if you're a generator or an MG, check in with what I'm saying and see if you're doing these things. Okay, so the first thing you have to do as a generator is wait. You have to be willing to leave this way of working that you've been having all your life, where it's just been go, where it's been go getter, most of us generators living in the not self are go-getters. So you have to be willing to leave that identity behind and to become someone who waits on a frequent basis, if I can say it that way. The second thing you have to do is you have to be able to honor your energy. Most of us generators living in the not self are going to be people who are mostly enslaved. Enslaved to the work environment, enslaved to your boss, enslaved to all the things people want you to do that you don't really want to do, but that you just think that you have to do because you're a good person, or because, I don't know, because you've been doing it and you don't know how to stop. You don't know how to say no. So you have to honor your energy. Number 3, you have to be able to connect to your sacral, and that's something that you're gonna have lost. Probably some point in childhood we lose that connection because nobody teaches us to have that connection. Nobody teaches us the importance of the gut feeling, and so you're gonna have to be able to go back and establish a connection. And more than a connection, it's like a relationship. And like any relationship, it's gonna start slow, and it's gonna start to be about getting to know it, and what does it feel like, and what does the sacral sound like, and what does it say, and what does it not say. So you're gonna need to establish a new relationship, and that takes time. Number 4 is you have to be willing to learn from frustration. You have to be willing to invite frustration into your life. And I know that frustration is talked about so much as the not self theme, but in my opinion, that makes it sound like we're trying to get rid of it, and we really aren't, because frustration is a huge part of any generator's life. And frustration is actually part of the learning process for a generator. And so I go into this deeply in the masterclass, but you need to understand that frustration is part of your life, but you need to also understand the messages that it's giving you. There's a couple of different messages frustration can give you, and so you need to be able to discern between those messages so that you can move into the right thing for you every time you feel it. And then lastly, the 5th generator behavior is to remember your purpose on a daily basis. Constantly remember your purpose. And again, I go into this in a deep way in the masterclass, but mostly I want you to know that your purpose is not about any like one thing or one job or one thing you have to find that you're really good at. Your purpose is more about knowing how you bring more light into the world, how you're meant to add value to this world, how you're meant to guide yourself in the ascension process. If you don't know what that is, just bear with me. We can say it as how to expand your own consciousness, right? We can agree that our voyage here is about expanding our being. It's about being able to be in higher states of consciousness or higher states of being every time more. And so you have to understand that that in and of itself is your purpose, and that through the completion of that personal purpose, your purpose is out in the world is completed as well, or the path is unveiled before you about what you need to be doing in order to advance not only yourself but humanity. And so those are the 5 generator behaviors, like in a very brief way. In the Generator's Path to Ascension Masterclass, I'll go over the 5 of these behaviors in a deep way so that not only you can understand them deeply, because I feel like understanding the why is such an important part. As a teacher, I see it in the past, in my 3rd grade, 4th grade students. I saw that when they understood the why, then they were actually able to implement the information. They don't understand. If you don't understand why you have to do this, why you have to wait for an invitation, or why you have to stop saying yes to things that you really should say no to, and so on, then you're not going to have like the capacity or the power behind it to actually make the changes in your life. And so in the masterclass, I'll really help you understand the why behind these 5 behaviors and why they're so essential for you to be able to step into your experiment and be able to experience more alignment in your life on a daily basis. And then I wanted to mention a few other things that I go over in the masterclass. It's more than 60 minutes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's about an hour and 8 minutes. So there's a lot of good packed info in there about generators and MGs. So apart from that, a few other things we go into in the masterclass is the generator manifestation process. Not manifestation in the new age way it's talked about, but how do we actually, as generators, go about creating what our mind wants to create, or what we want for ourselves. How does that happen in our lives actually? And it's so useful to be able to know how that process occurs, because then you feel so much more powerful, because then you understand that you are part of the creative process of your own life. But you can also understand that it's not just you, that the universe plays a role. And so you kind of are going to understand where you fall into, what responsibility you have as a generator to make sure that you are creating the life that you want to be creating. The other thing we go into is how your authority plays a role. So as a generator, you have either an emotional authority, or you have a splenic authority. Sacral authority. Sometimes some places will tell you have a splenic authority, but that's really more like a sacral authority, and I'll explain that again more in the masterclass. But I'll explain how the different authorities are going to play a role in how you're making decisions in your life, and what kind of things you're moving into, and how you're moving into things in your life. And finally, I go over 5 behaviors that this time you don't want to do. So really having the 5 behaviors that I mentioned, and really understanding the why, like maybe in a post-it or somewhere on your wall, and just like daily going through them, and then knowing the 5 things you really don't want to be doing. That is really all you need as a generator to just slowly and surely move into the experiment in a very just natural and organic way. You're not forcing anything. You're not manifesting things in your life. You're just getting more and more aligned to who you are, understanding, again, going back to the beginning of the video, understanding that you have a mechanics, that you have an aura, or that you are an aura actually, and that it works a certain way, and that the more that you can understand that way that it works, and you can assimilate your behavior to that, the more the engine is going to run smoothly. You know what I mean? Like if you are running a diesel car with gas, it's not going to go. And that's what you've been doing as a generator all your life. So this masterclass is going to bring you the info to kind of like first dump out all the diesel and put in the right gas, and for it to flow correctly, for it to be able to move in the way that it always was meant to move. And what will be the result of that? Well, at least for me, it's been pretty magical. It's been just this constant more and more and more into alignment. I'm not saying there's no up and downs, but it's definitely just like this feeling of coming home every single time, and like up leveling after up leveling after up leveling, and a feeling of coming home and understanding how I work. And the more that happens internally, the more I see that my outside reality shifts, the more I get like more opportunities come my way, more things to respond to that feel really exciting to me, the more I get synchronicity, the more I can look at my life and see magic instead of problems and limitations. So, if you're a generator and you resonate with the way that I've been delivering information in this platform, or in all the other platforms I deliver information, if you're a generator or an MG and you really want to learn and maybe download some information into your being about how to enter this experiment in an organic way that's going to actually be sustainable in your life and put you in the right path, in the right direction, for alignment and the creation of a life that you want to create, then go check out the new Generators Path to Ascension Masterclass. The link is in my bio. I love you.